Mike Bond here with former interim UFC lightweight champion Dustin Poirier, who is headlining the UFC's June 27th event against Dan Hooker. Dustin, man, you must be absolutely thrilled to be back in a fight week. It's been a long wait for this one.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. It's been a lot of months of waiting to feel this and waiting to get my hand raised, man. I'm so excited to go in there and handle business next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I know after the surgery, like you originally wanted to fight in April. With these extra couple of months, with the ability to just work and, get more time in the gym on the hip and all that kind of stuff, are you kind of glad that you've had this extra little bit of time, or are you wishing you still got in there a few months ago?
Everything happens for a reason. I'm kind of glad I got pushed back a little bit because I got to come out to Florida. If I was going to do it in May, I would have to done most of my training camp in Louisiana, which I have some guys I can depend on, but it's just nice to be out here with Mike Brown and Dia Davis and, Thiago Alves and my coaches here at American Top Team. So things are running smoothly here. And, I had a full camp for this.
That's great. And obviously, can you just tell us a little bit about what the camp has been like? Obviously, we've seen multiple ATT fighters fighting already. So clearly you guys have, the format that you've established for years still going pretty well. But does that give you even more confidence in your preparation, seeing your teammates winning and stuff like that?
I mean, it's nice to see them winning, but them winning has nothing to do with how I'm going to perform. I need to focus on me. It's nice, and I'm happy that everybody's doing good, and those people who are getting their hand raised are working hard. I see them every day in the gym.
Yeah. So who are some of the main people? I saw you working with Masvidal a fair bit throughout this camp, at least in photos and stuff.
Yeah, George was probably one of my. He was the main sparring partner. I've been working with Luis Pena a lot as well. He's fighting on the card. He's a long, lanky guy. So is Dan. So it was just a good look. He has a decent guillotine as well. Some funky ground stuff he does. Being long like that, they move differently. So I've got everything I need.
Yeah, is Jorge being, I guess he was for a while there thinking he was going to be fighting, Usman. It didn't end up coming together, but it seems like, the dates for you guys fighting would have been pretty close together. So I'm guessing the training was pretty intense and pretty good.
Yeah, the training was great. When I first got here at the beginning of May, he had a few wrestlers in, some of the best wrestlers in the world. And I got to work on the mats alongside those guys when he was preparing for the Usman fight. So it was just great, man. We got a lot of great rounds in, a lot of great knowledge. And, I believe I'm still getting better.
Yeah, you bummed for Jorge that he didn't get that fight. I know he's got his own issues going on. He only wants to go in there when he feels right with his situation, but it seemed like we were just so damn close to getting that fight.
Yeah, I really wanted to see him in there against Usman, but he's got to do what's right for him, and the UFC has to do what's right for them. This is business, man.
Yeah, fair play. What's the vibe being like in the gym with no Colby Covington around? I know he hasn't been training there for a while, but is there a general sense of, just difference without him being there at all?
He honestly did his own thing, kind of. So it's not a whole lot different.
Okay, that's good. And obviously, you were supposed to do this fight in May. Was there any point along the line where you thought you might get something else or a different fight, or have you just been thinking it's only been Dan pretty much this whole time?
I didn't know. From what I was getting back from the UFC, they were kind of still telling me that they planned on booking this fight. But whenever everything started getting canceled and shut down, and then California closed the doors to sports or gatherings, period, back in March, at the end of March, I didn't know what was going to happen,
Okay, interesting. And was it always seeming like it was going to be Vegas, or was Fight Island ever discussed?
I had no clue. I kind of thought it might have been Fight Island. I found out when everybody else found out. I'm glad, though. I believe we're the last fight card in the U.S. before they go to Fight Island. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. It's 5-hour flight here from Florida, so not too bad.
Yeah, what's your one piece of advice you could give to all the people going over and fighting in Abu Dhabi? Obviously, you just did that in September, but they don't really have the same leeway. I mean, I was talking to Dan Ige last night, who's headlining one of those cards, and he says he doesn't even know when he's going over there. And I know you were able to go like 12 days ahead or something like that.
No, I went there 8 days ahead.
Okay.
After going through it, I wish I would have went at least 2 weeks. It takes a while for me. Maybe people's body is different, but I still wasn't right. On the day I left, I couldn't fall asleep until 4 a.m. every night. And, I had media obligations and stuff to wake up and do. So looking back on it, lesson learned, if I ever fight overseas like that again, I'll definitely go early.
Yeah. No open workout this week coming up. No, like it's going to be a very different fight week, and I think we're missing out on the Dustin Poirier skipping routine. That's one of my favorite workouts.
I'll tell you what, I'll be jumping rope in the locker room, I promise, and I'll be jumping rope at the hotel workout room. So maybe I'll live stream it for you.
You should. I've been trying to get into some skipping lately, and I am not good at it at all. What's like the tip you can give to get better at it? Just practice, or?
Yeah, just get in a rhythm. Same thing like with a speed bag. Just get in a rhythm, put on some music, and start jumping.
All right, I'll give that a shot. So, you know, a lot of people, this is a very different fight from Khabib, not only from, you know, style matchup, but you were going in, you were fighting, you know, the big undefeated champion, all that kind of stuff before trying to unify the belts. This one, you're the favorite. A lot of people are making, you know, think you're going to win this fight and predicting you to win. Is that, you know, a different type of mindset you have to bring in there when everyone's saying, hey, Dustin, you're going to do so great, you're going to knock this guy out, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't like that, honestly, man. This guy's dangerous. This guy's a top opponent, a top 5 ranked fighter in the UFC for a reason. You know, I don't look past anybody. This guy is the only thing I'm focused on right now. 25 minutes with Hooker, and we'll see what happens, man. But I don't like the fact that fans and stuff are just passing him over, because this is a dangerous guy, and I've been preparing very seriously for, you know.
Yeah. Do you think they're overlooking him, or are they just maybe so confident in your abilities? I mean, is that just belief in you?
Probably that, maybe a little bit of both, but none of that matters. You know, that's all noise on the outside. I focus on what I can control, and that's me being prepared next weekend, and I've definitely done that, so I'm excited to get in there.
Yeah, that's good, man. So, like, how do you just feel physically? I mean, I know you've been able to work through the injury for a few fights, and you never complain, you do any of that stuff, but can you notice a, you know, big difference in just how you feel going into a fight week now?
Yeah, I feel good. You know, the surgery was very intensive. It was, you know, a 5-hour surgery. I was on crutches for almost 8 weeks. Couldn't put any weight on my leg. They had to microfracture the head of my femur, so I couldn't put any pressure. You know, I had to follow the rules and sleep in a machine for like 6 weeks that moved my leg up and down the whole time. It was an uncomfortable process, man. The physical therapy was tough. You know, it was a long process, and I'm glad I'm back here. I'm glad I'm feeling good, training. I'm just excited to be back. You know, I've always just submerged myself in work when I've lost before, and kind of drowned everything out just with hard work. And this particular loss was the biggest loss of my career, and also I had to get sidelined. So I couldn't just jump back in the gym and drown everything out. I had to think and sit on the couch and just watch everybody else fight. So it was more of a mental training, man. I feel mentally stronger and more focused than I've ever been.
That's good. Yeah, just being able to have to sit there on that and think about that loss, right? Like you've never had to experience something like that before.
Never. Yeah, this is the longest layoff I've ever had, and especially coming off of, you know, title unification loss and surgery. I was really, you know, down on myself during the process, and then gradually just pick myself up, you know, and train my brain. And I believe that's going to help my performances from here on.
Yeah, there's got to be some upsides though too, because you were going through hard fights there. I mean, in the road, the Max fight, the Gaethje fight, obviously the Khabib fight too. Like those were not easy fights, and you were going, you know, on a pretty consistent schedule. So I imagine there is a fair bit of upside to the break too.
Maybe so in the long run, you know. But I like to stay busy.
Yeah, fair play. So what do you think this fight actually looks like? I mean, I know you like to throw those hands anytime you're in there, but how do you think it matches up against Dan's style?
I think I'm a better boxer. Yeah, I think he's going to try to stay on the outside. We're fighting in a small cage, and I'm going to make it a blender in there, man. I promise you.
Yeah, is the cage at ATT regulation size, or is it similar to this one?
Nah, it's a big boy. It's the big cage.
Okay, interesting. So what do you –
I have a little bit of experience fighting in smaller promotions, you know, coming up. And then obviously I fought in the WEC a couple times, and they use the small cage.
Very interesting. And what about no crowd? What do you think of that element?
I've never fought without a crowd, you know.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I might have fought with as little as 300 people, maybe a little bit more than that. You know, the first couple of amateur fights I've had, but nobody at all. It might be nice, you know, to hear my corner clearly and hear Dan grunt when I touch that body.
Right. So is the corner Mike, Daya, and Thiago Albas?
Mike, Daya, Thiago, and my boy Robert Ovetta.
Oh, beautiful. So are you going to be able to like bring the family to this one? I mean, is Jolie going to be able to join you for fight week, or is it just because of these kind of conditions with limited people, all that kind of stuff? You gotta cut some of the people that you would typically bring with you to a fight week.
My wife is gonna come out there, and she'll get in on Thursday night, but I don't believe I'll be able to see her until after the fight because I think you make weight and then you kind of get quarantined off from, you have to stay at the fighter hotel and you can't leave once you pass the second test they give you. I'll find out when I get out there. Hopefully I'll be able to see her. If not, I'll see her after I get my hand raised. But she'll be there.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, what do you do like during that time? I mean, typically on a fight week after you weigh in, what would you do? Like go for a big dinner with all your people, or like what's going to be the thing you won't be able to do now after you'd make weight, like in those final hours before the fight?
We'll see. I don't know exactly how lockdown will be, but when I was a younger fighter, I used to bring everybody. We'd go do a big dinner after each weigh-in. But I mean, probably my last 8 fights, I just order food and get it delivered and hang out in the hotel or my Airbnb, kind of keep it low key,
Yeah, what's the go-to meal? Do you have one?
Usually I do something simple like rice and chicken and vegetables, nothing too complex, nothing processed.
Yeah, right. Like it's always so funny. You go through the whole training camp and you're like on such a strict diet, then you make weight, and then people, have this big crazy meal, but you still have to fight the next day. It's like, why are you breaking your diet the night before you're gonna fight?
Yeah, and I feel like that's important too because whatever you eat that night, that's what you're performing on the next day. So I kind of keep it clean until after the fight.
Yeah, has the cut been pretty good so far? I mean, I know you still got a few days to go, but are you feeling pretty confident?
Yeah, I'm gonna. This is and I get an extra pound. My last 2 fights have been 155 on the dot,
Right.
so that extra pound will be nice. But cutting to 156 or 55, this is never fun, but I get it done, man.
Yeah, is it a world of difference, just that one extra pound when it comes down to those moments where you're actually doing it?
Hell yeah, dude. 1 pound's a lot. Whenever you cut 15, 1 pound's gonna be great.
Yeah, no doubt. So what do you think this fight means, just in kind of the grand scheme of the lightweight division? I know we got Khabib and Gaethje doing their thing. Gaethje, I'm sure you saw, said he thinks they're going to murk Dan Hooker in there on next Saturday, but he wants to fight you too. I know he was on Rogan's podcast, and he said the final 3 fights he wants his career are Khabib, Conor, and you. So it seems like he's pretty damn interested in that rematch.
Hey, I'm always open to it. It was fight of the year, I thought. And I'm sure it would be again. I love watching him fight. And like I always say, anybody I'm a fan of watching fight, I would love to fight them because I know we'll put some craziness on in there.
Yeah, and you were very confident in Justin's ability to beat Tony. What do you think about Khabib? Are you as confident in this fight, or do you think that's going to go the other way?
It just depends how it unfolds and how Justin's footwork is. If he can stay off the fence, I think he's going to give Khabib a lot of problems, man. Khabib's going to have a tough time taking him down in the open. But against the fence, I'm not sure. If Khabib gets him up against the fence and starts getting in on his legs, he might give Gaethje some trouble there and get him down, and it's going to be hard to get back up. I know firsthand.
Right, yeah. It seems like Justin winning, though, would make your path back to a title shot a little bit faster, considering how keen he is to seem to want to fight you again.
Yeah, but that's really counting the chickens before they hatch, man. I got next week to look forward to, and then we'll take it from there. Right, like I say, bro, I honor this and respect this, and whether I like my opponent or not, I respect what they bring to the table. I respect it. This is a dangerous man looking to make his dreams come true, and by no means am I going to be a stepping stone. By no means do I take anyone lightly that I'm getting in there with. So I have blinders on. All I see is Dan Hooker next weekend, man.
Awesome. So does Dan fall into the like him or don't category there? I know, he's had a few words. He said he got a weak chin, things like that. But anything that's bothered you or served as greater motivation?
Nah, I'm immune to that stuff these days, man. I don't care. I see some stuff on Twitter here and there, like whenever MMA media pushes it out as a headline or something. But other than that, I don't look into it or read too much on it. And he's doing what he's supposed to do. He better be saying all that stuff. He needs to believe all that stuff too. Because next weekend, we're going to find out.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Well, any just kind of last thoughts on this fight that we didn't touch on? I mean, it seems like you're just so focused, and that seems like that's a really great thing to see too.
Thanks, man. I'm just healthy. I'm in a good place. My family's good. I'm just honestly grateful, man. I feel good. I wake up every day happy. I don't know. I just got the right chemicals pumping through my brain these last few months, and I feel good and excited about the future.
Yeah. Do you think, when you visualize it, is it going to be a very dominant fight? Is it going to be one of those, Dustin Poirier fight of the night, fight of the years type things? I know everyone, the second this one got confirmed, they've been circling this fight on the calendar for, their most anticipated.
I believe it has the ability to be all those things. I'd like it to be a performance of the night clinic by me, but I'm prepared for 25 minutes of blood, sweat, and tears, and let's go, man.
Awesome. So is camp done at this point? Do you have any hard training, or are we pretty much we're talking right now the Friday before fight week begins? So what's the final days, if anything, looking like?
I have one more. My sparring's done.
Okay.
I finished sparring this week. I'm done with that. I have one more hard push tomorrow, like a circuit, good cardio, good drill, and I'm done, man. I'm going to cruise into fight week, really start focusing on this weight, let my body heal up, and then we put on the performance of a lifetime.
Perfect, man. Well, really looking forward to it. Appreciate you taking some time to chat with me. It's so close to the fight, and we will definitely catch up again afterwards.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate it, Dustin.
All right.
Thank you.